what is your service dog for? And that's something that people don't really have a right to ask.
Before I had Blaze, the amount of disability I had, I was pretty much bedridden.
These dogs are trained to do a task to help that person with that invisible disability. So if you're interfering with that, you're making their day a lot more challenging.
She can sense the stress level that I'm having. Then she has responses that work to get me out of the environment.
I couldn't tell you all the training that he's been through.
The best thing that people can do is ignore my service dog because she works for me.
A service dog is one that visibly you can tell that it is a service dog and the dog does the work of a service dog, or B, the handler of the service dog produces a letter from a medical professional stating that the dog is a service dog for their patient and names the handler.
When I go anywhere in public, I'm constantly asked about Snoopy being a service dog and asked what's wrong with me because she's small. She's a service dog, she's got a vest on, here's her card. Many organizations consider her a fake.
I do know service dogs that are Yorkies, Chihuahuas, and I know service dogs that are Irish Wolfhounds, and several in between. Almost any breed of dog can be a service dog, and it is the task or the training that the dog receives that makes it a service dog and enables that team to function as a team.
Is that a service dog?
Approach me with respect. I find a lot of people when they approach us, they get down and kind of inspect Poppy and touch her. But that's really not the thing to do, is just to come up to me and be like, hey, I was wondering if I could see your documentation. Because that's a completely fair question to ask, and it should be asked because there are service dogs. Well, dogs in service dog vests who are posing as service dogs.
Some facilities will go as far as asking you why you have this dog. That's not something that I think should be asked. That would be like me asking you what your last doctor's appointment was for, it's quite intrusive.
Les chiens de service sont entraînés à effectuer certains gestes en fonction de la détresse de leur maître. Et ces gestes vont être aussi simples que de presser contre la jambe, donc la thérapie par pression, et de lui permettre de sentir, bon, je ressens ta détresse, mais la situation est calme.
Before I had Blaze, the amount of disability I had, I was pretty much bedridden. I pretty much didn't leave the house. I was so depressed, so anxious, that I was pretty much incapacitated. When I got Blaze, I really didn't know what she could help me with. She was recommended by my doctors, and the truth is that after a few weeks to a month, the first thing I noticed was I wasn't being sick for 12 hours after being exposed to a mall-type atmosphere. And when you're not sick after being exposed just for an hour to that type of place, it actually changes the next day. It changes the following week. So having Blaze with me all the time completely changed my life.
A service dog has to perform at least 2 tasks for their handler. That's not necessarily just for PTSD. There are so many invisible disabilities out there. Anyone on the autism spectrum, diabetes, epilepsy, hearing impairments. There are so many things that we can't see. So these dogs are trained to do a task to help that person with that invisible disability. So if you're interfering with that, the person with the invisible disability, you're making their day a lot more challenging. So oftentimes Ben will recognize that I've been triggered before I even do. Sometimes there will be a child screaming in the distance that I'm not even really aware of, and then I start to feel angry or sad. And oftentimes I wouldn't recognize that was happening, but Ben intuitively understands that, and he'll get his head between my legs, or he'll push on me, he'll lean on me, he'll put his paw on me if I'm sitting down, so he's quite perceptive. It would look annoying to other people. Like if a dog was doing that to you, you wouldn't really enjoy them doing it. Typically you don't see someone's dog leaning their full 75 pounds on them. But Ben, that's one of the tasks he does for me. It's called deep pressure stimulation. So he'll put his whole body weight on one of my legs, and that reminds me, okay, I gotta sort of snap out of it. I'll put that in quotation marks, and pet him and ground and work on breathing work and come back to reality.
At 2 months, we started doing basic training. We started doing public access training when she was about 5 months old. I wasn't able to go out to the public on my own because I faint quite a bit, and now I'm able to go out, do anything because Poppy is alerting me when I'm about to faint, so I can get down safely. So I can be sitting down and just avoid that. That was something that she picked up on, and then I trained on top of that. So I didn't train her to smell blood pressure or anything. We're doing that now with cortisol samples, but I would just say she's able to figure that out due to visible cues.
So if I'm in an environment where I'm getting bumped around, having her beside me, something soft that is soothing would immediately change, I don't know, the chemistry in my brain or something. That's how they've always explained it. And just having that soft touch was enough to calm me down and get me to just sort of think about what was actually occurring so that I wouldn't necessarily break out in tears or start punching people. And if she felt that I was in a situation that was too stressful, because she can sense the stress level that I'm having, then she has responses that work to get me out of the environment. She'll either tell me she needs to go to the washroom, she'll actually physically jump on me and push me away from somebody, or she'll drag me away if necessary. She'll turn playful and act bad in order to create space, because people don't want to be around a rambunctious dog. And it seems like a service dog out of control, but she's doing it on purpose.
I couldn't tell you all the training that he's been through. He went through being in public, being in high density public, and it was in a mall that neither and I have ever been in, so it wasn't a comfort place to be in. And I would leave the stores. Of course, we'd have the trainers there watching, make sure he didn't go away. I'd have to leave the stores and then come back, make sure he stayed. It was kind of funny because they put treats down on the floor in a public place. And I'd be on one side of the room and he'd be on the other side. And then we'd call him, hopefully that he wouldn't touch the treats. And it's not just because there's treats, because maybe somebody dropped their pill on the floor, or maybe there's something that he shouldn't be eating that could be dangerous to him. And so hence, he should not eat the treats unless I give him permission. But you know what, that's just all a training and trust. He has to be obedient. That is very important.
I think it's really important for people to understand what the invisible disability dogs do for us and why it's so important that you not touch them.
The best thing that people can do is ignore my service dog, because she works for me. She doesn't work for anybody else. And when I say that, she's doing many things that people don't even realize to keep me healthy.
If you were to pet Ben right now, or offer him a treat, or call him out, you're distracting him from doing his job. It'd be the same as you see a first responder on the side of the road attending to an accident. Well, you can't go up to that person and start asking them questions or distracting them because they're doing a job. It's the same with the service dog. He's working for me, he's performing tasks for me, and my preference would be that people just ignore him.
Sometimes the right person is standing right in front of you. You might not notice, but I know he notices you. I'm not broken, I'm just hoping you're my greatest fear. Maybe you just don't see him. There's no writing on the wall. things that you say might confuse him. None of that